I never thought I'd be sharing this story publicly, but after everything that's happened, I feel like people need to hear it. It started as something small, something that seemed almost silly at first, just a little challenge my husband saw online. He came home one evening, all excited, waving his phone in the air saying, "You have to try this with the dog. It's going viral." I laughed it off at first. We've done little trends together before. Harmless things like trying dog treats or recording our pup's reaction to certain words. But this time, something felt different. There was something in his voice, a kind of insistence, like he needed this to happen. Our dog, Max, is a big part of our lives. He's more than a pet, he's family. So, whenever we include him in our videos, it's always been fun, playful, and respectful. But the way my husband kept pushing this idea made me uncomfortable. "It's just for the content," he kept saying. "Everyone's doing it. Trust me, it'll blow up." He even had a whole setup ready: lights, camera, treats, and a script. That's when I started to realize this wasn't just a spur of the moment thing. He had planned it. At first, I thought I was overreacting. Maybe it was just another goofy TikTok thing, right? But the more he explained what he wanted me to do, the more it didn't sit right with me. It wasn't dangerous or anything, but it felt off. It crossed a line between playful and pressured, and when I hesitated, he got frustrated. "You're always holding us back," he said. That hit me hard. We've always been a team. He edits, I shoot, and we brainstorm ideas together. But suddenly, it didn't feel like teamwork. It felt like he was trying to use me and Max for views. I remember looking down at Max, wagging his tail, just happy to be around us. He had no idea what was going on, and I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't right. But my husband wouldn't let it go. He started filming anyway, telling me to just go with it. The camera was rolling, the lights were hot, and my heart was pounding. I felt trapped between keeping peace at home and standing up for what I knew didn't feel okay. I wish I could say I turned the camera off and walked away. I wish I could say he listened. But what actually happened next was something I never expected, and it changed the way I saw him, our relationship, and the idea of sharing our lives online. That one moment caught on camera sparked a chain of events I'm still trying to process. And honestly, I'm not sure if things will ever go back to the way they were. But before I get into that, you need to know what really happened that night. The night everything shifted, I kept replaying my husband's words in my head. "It's just content." That phrase haunted me. It made me wonder, when did we stop being a couple who shared our lives and turn into people chasing numbers, clicks, and views? Back when we started our YouTube channel, it was innocent. Just little moments. Us trying new recipes, weekend hikes, funny things Max did around the house. It felt real, and people connected with us because of that. But somewhere along the way, the pressure to grow changed everything. He started studying algorithms, trends, what thumbnails performed best. At first, I was proud of his dedication, but slowly it started to feel like he was more connected to the analytics than to me. He began bringing up viral videos during dinner, showing me what other couples were doing with their pets. Some funny, some weird, and some that made me a little uncomfortable. I'd say things like, "Do you think Max is okay with that?" Or, "That feels kind of staged." But he'd brush it off. "This is how people blow up," he'd say. "It's harmless." That night, when the camera was pointed at me and he kept coaching me through what to do, I could feel myself freezing up. Max was sitting by my feet, totally unaware, his tail thumping gently against the floor. I could see my reflection in the lens, and I didn't recognize the person staring back. I wanted to speak up, to stop the whole thing, but my husband was so locked into director mode that I couldn't get through to him. He kept adjusting the camera angle, telling me where to stand, what to say, even how to hold Max. I kept asking, "Are you sure this is okay?" And every time he gave me that same half smile, saying, "Trust me." But my gut told me not to. There was something in his energy that night, something desperate. Like this video had to be the one that pushed us to the next level. Like he needed the validation. The whole setup felt too polished, too scripted, and nothing about it felt like us. Max was starting to get fidgety, and I didn't blame him. I felt the same way. My hands were sweating, my voice shaky, and my heart kept telling me, this isn't what love is supposed to feel like. And then, just as I was about to step away and tell him I couldn't do it, he said something that stopped me cold, something I never thought he'd say. And in that one sentence, everything changed. He looked right at me and said, "If you don't do this, you're ruining everything we've worked for." His voice wasn't loud, but it hit harder than if he'd shouted. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about a silly trend with our dog anymore. It wasn't even about the video. It was about control, about this version of success he was chasing so desperately, he was willing to risk everything for it, including us. I didn't answer right away. I couldn't. I was frozen, not because I was scared of him, but because I was scared of what this meant. The man who used to make me laugh while we edited videos together was now pressuring me to play a role I never signed up for. Max was pacing now, whining a little, like he could sense the tension in the room. I bent down to pet him, needing something familiar in that moment, but my husband just kept staring at me like I was wasting time. What made things worse was that just a few days earlier, we'd had a long conversation about boundaries. I had told him that some of these content ideas were starting to feel forced, even fake. He had nodded, told me he understood, but clearly that conversation meant nothing to him. Or maybe he just didn't think I was serious. There's also another layer to this, something I hadn't shared with anyone until now. A few weeks ago, I'd received a message from a longtime viewer. She said she loved our videos, but lately she could tell I didn't look happy. She asked if I was okay. That message stuck with me, because maybe deep down, people could already see the cracks before I was ready to admit they were there. And now, here I was, being forced to choose between protecting myself or protecting an image we'd built online. I stood there, still crouched beside Max, my hand resting on his back, feeling his quick breaths under my palm. My husband was now pacing, adjusting the camera over and over, like he couldn't sit still. He kept muttering about lighting, angles, engagement. I watched him, and for the first time, I saw someone I didn't recognize, someone more obsessed with what people would think online than what was happening right in front of him. He turned to me again, camera recording, and said, "Just do it already. It's not that deep." But it was that deep. I wasn't just uncomfortable. I felt like I was being pushed into something that went against everything I believed in. Max looked up at me, his tail no longer wagging. Even he sensed something was wrong. I tried again to say no, to ask if we could just film something else, something lighthearted. But his eyes went cold. "We need this," he said. "One good viral hit and we can finally go full time. No more side jobs, no more stress. This is our shot." That's when it hit me. This wasn't about the video. It was about everything we hadn't been talking about. The money issues, the pressure, the growing gap between who we were and who we pretended to be on screen. I could feel the walls closing in. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear anything else. I felt like I was standing at the edge of something I couldn't come back from. He stepped closer, holding the camera now, pointing it right at me, waiting. And in that moment, I realized the decision wasn't just about the video. It was about whether I was still willing to be part of this version of our lives. And I wasn't sure I was. Just as I opened my mouth to say something, anything, to stop what was happening, my phone buzzed. I glanced at it, grateful for the distraction, but when I saw the name on the screen, my stomach dropped. It was a message from someone I never expected to hear from again. Emily. She and I used to be close, really close. She was a part of our lives back when we first started the channel, back when everything still felt fun and easy. But one day, she just cut contact. No explanation, no goodbye. I hadn't heard from her in over a year. The message was short, but it made my hands go cold. Saw the preview. Be careful. You don't know everything. I read it twice, 3 times. It didn't make sense at first. What preview? And what did she mean by you don't know everything? I hadn't posted anything yet. Then I realized he had. At some point without telling me, my husband must have uploaded a teaser. I checked our shared account. There it was, a 15-second clip posted just an hour earlier, titled, "My wife finally agrees to try this with our dog. You won't believe what happened." The thumbnail was a freeze frame of me, caught mid-expression, looking confused and unsure.